Have you ever been told by your own family that you're not worth their time? That someone else will always outshine you? My parents said my sister was the one to bet on, that I should just give up on college. They told me I'd never be half as good as her. But at my graduation, I unveiled a secret that left them stunned and the whole auditorium cheering. Drop a comment with where you're watching from, and hit that like button if you've ever had to hide your pain to prove your worth. I'm Emma Carter, and this is the story of how I turned their harsh words into a victory they couldn't ignore. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, in a house with a white picket fence that screamed picture-perfect America. From the outside, we looked like the ideal family. My dad, David, was a bank manager with a slick, professional smile. My mom, Linda, was a real estate agent who could charm anyone into signing a contract. But behind that polished facade, our family was a battleground of favoritism. My sister, Lily, 2 years younger than me, was their golden child. With her golden curls and flawless grades, she was the star they couldn't stop praising. Me, I was the afterthought, constantly measured against her and found wanting. The comparison started early and never let up. If I spilled a drink at dinner, Mom would snap. "Why can't you be careful like Lily? She does everything better than you." If I brought home an A-, she'd scoff. "Lily gets straight A's. Emma, your A- is nothing." When I was 12 and shared my dream of starting a business, she shut me down. "Stop with these childish fantasies. Lily has real plans. You'll never come close to her." Every jab pushed me deeper into myself. I stopped sharing my thoughts, my hopes, anything that might give them another chance to tear me down. I learned to handle things alone, hiding my hurt behind a blank face to shield myself from their dismissal. Lily lapped up the attention, shed glow when Mom and Dad cheered her debate victories or gushed over her piano performances. But sometimes, when Mom's comparisons cut especially deep, I'd catch Lily glancing at me, her eyes flickering with guilt. She never said a word, though she stayed glued to their side, soaking in their approval. Christmas mornings drove the point home. Lily would tear open a shiny new iPhone while I got a clearance rack sketch pad. "Lily needs tools to nurture her talents," Mom would say when I dared ask why. I'd nod, swallowing the lump in my throat, knowing fairness wasn't coming. The one person who saw me for me was my grandma, Margaret. Summers at her lake house were my sanctuary. She'd sit with me as I sketched the shimmering water, saying, "You've got a special way of seeing the world. Emma, don't let anyone snuff out your light." And she shared stories of entrepreneurs and trailblazers who defied the odds, sparking a fire in me, a dream to not just endure my childhood, but to prove my worth in a way that demanded respect. By high school, I'd forged a resilient edge. I dove into business clubs, excelled in math and economics, and clinched a regional business plan competition as a sophomore. My teacher, Ms. Thompson, called my parents to rave about my talent, but Mom brushed it off. "That's nice." "Emma, have you helped Lily with her history project?" "She's got a big presentation. I worked part-time at a donut shop, saving every dime, and kept a 4.0 GPA despite 20-hour work weeks." Meanwhile, Lily dazzled in debate, and my parents threw lavish parties for her wins. Mom once texted me, "Your grades are decent, but they're nothing next to Lily's. Learn from her already." Lily met my gaze, her face uneasy, but she stayed silent. The final blow landed senior year. Lily and I both applied to Crestwood University, a top-tier school in California with stellar business and political science programs. We both got in. I rushed to dinner, waving my acceptance letter. I made it, full acceptance to the business program. Dad glanced up from his phone. Nice work. Emma. But when Lily burst in, shouting, I got into political science. The house exploded. Dad jumped up. Mom enveloped her in a hug. And dinner morphed into a celebration with champagne for them and sparkling cider for us. I sat there, my letter forgotten, my excitement fading as it crumpled in my hand. 2 weeks later, the truth crashed down at a rare family dinner. Dad folded his hands and said, "We need to discuss college plans." His eyes fixed on Lily. "We've saved for your education since you were a baby. Crestwood's expensive, but we'll cover every cent so you can focus on your studies." I waited, expecting the same for me. But when I asked, "What about my tuition?" the air turned icy. Dad's voice was cold. "Emma, we only have enough for one. Lily's worth investing in. If you were even half as promising as her, we wouldn't be having this talk." Mom's words sliced deeper. "Honestly, Emma, I think you should skip college. Get a steady job. University isn't for you." I pushed back, my voice trembling. "I have a 4.0. I won the business competition." Dad cut me off. "Lily has real potential. Your ideas are just reckless pipe dreams." Mom piled on. "She's the one who deserves this, not you." The words seared into me. "Lily's worth it. But you're not." Years of slights coalesced into this brutal rejection. That night, I locked my bedroom door, refusing to let them see my tears. I was done chasing their approval. I'd go to Crestwood, pay my own way, and prove them wrong, not to win their love, but to claim my own worth. Their words echoed in my head like a broken record. Lily's worth investing in. "You're not..." "Skip college. Emma, it's not for you." I could have let those words crush me, but instead, they lit a fire. I wasn't just going to Crestwood. I was going to make them eat every single doubt they'd thrown at me. Have you ever had to fight for something others got handed to them? That was my reality. And let me tell you, the road was brutal, but it shaped me into someone they never saw coming. The morning after that devastating dinner, I drove 2 hours to my Grandma Margaret's lake house. She was the only one who'd ever believed in me. I poured out everything: Mom's comparisons, Dad's dismissal, their refusal to pay for my college. My voice cracked, but I held back tears. I'd learned long ago not to let anyone see me break. Grandma took my hands, her grip steady. "Emma," she said, her eyes fierce. "Those harsh words, they're not your truth. They're your parents' failure. You're a diamond in the rough, and pressure's about to make you shine." And she couldn't offer money. Her pension barely covered her bills. But she gave me something better: belief. "Promise me you'll go to Crestwood," she urged. "Don't let their limits become yours." That night, I made a vow. I'd prove them wrong, no matter what it took. Back home, I threw myself into action. I spent weeks researching scholarships, grants, and work-study programs. My guidance counselor, Mrs. Lee, stayed late to help me navigate the maze of financial aid. "I've never seen a student this determined," she said as we submitted my 20th scholarship application. I pieced together enough for my first year, a few small scholarships, federal loans, and a private loan co-signed by Grandma Margaret. Housing was next, while Lily would live in Crestwood's fancy dorms, paid for by Mom and Dad. I found a cramped apartment 45 minutes from campus with 3 roommates I met on a university forum. It was no palace, but it was mine. Jobs were crucial. I applied to every opening near campus and landed 2 morning shifts at a donut shop and weekends at a bookstore. The contrast with Lily's preparations was stark. Mom and Dad took her shopping for designer clothes, a new laptop, and dorm decor. They hired movers and threw a send-off party with half the town. I packed my things in second-hand suitcases and cardboard boxes scrounged from the grocery store. The night before I left, Mom handed me a faded bedsheet set, saying, "Lily needed the new ones. Make do with these." It was the only nod to my departure. Lily watched, her lips twitching like she wanted to say something, but she stayed silent. Clutching her new laptop, move-in day was a study in opposites. Mom and Dad drove Lily to campus in our family SUV, her belongings neatly packed. I trailed behind in my rattling 10-year-old Honda, praying the brakes wouldn't give out. At the campus gates, they headed to Lily's plush dorm, Mom calling out, "Good luck, Emma. Don't mess this up." The doubt in her voice only steeled my resolve. I'd do more than make it work. I'd make it epic. My apartment was a shock-peeling paint, leaky pipes, and noisy neighbors. That first night, alone on a thin mattress. The weight of my choice hit me. Could I really juggle 30 hours of work and a full course load? Would the financial strain break me? Doubt crept in, but then my phone lit up with a text from Grandma Diamonds, our forged under pressure. "My brave girl, you are already sparkling." I wiped my eyes, mapped out every hour of my week, and got to work. Freshman year was a hurricane. While most students partied and adjusted to college life, I was up at 5 a.m., studying before rushing to the donut shop. After classes, I'd head to the bookstore, often not getting home until midnight. Sleep was a luxury, 4 or 5 hours if I was lucky. I did readings on the bus, wrote essays during lunch breaks, and listened to recorded lectures while scrubbing coffee machines. Lily's life couldn't have been more different. Her texts and social media posts showed sorority parties, study abroad fairs, and weekend trips home for Mom's cooking. Meanwhile, I was calculating whether I could afford both textbooks and groceries. Mom called once, saying, "Lily's thriving at Crestwood. Try not to fall behind her." "Emma," I bit my tongue, hiding the exhaustion. But something unexpected happened. I wasn't just surviving. I was excelling. Years of managing my own finances and working part-time gave me an edge in my business classes. Concepts like budgeting and resource allocation, I was living them. My business ethics professor, Ms. Thompson, pulled me aside after a class discussion. "Emma, your analysis of that case study was razor sharp. You've got a real-world perspective most students lack. For the first time, my struggles felt like an advantage. The exhaustion didn't vanish, but her words fueled my confidence. A lifeline came in the form of my roommate, Sarah. She noticed my grueling schedule and started leaving meals in the fridge with my name on them. One night, when I dragged myself home half dead, she was waiting with a mug of tea. "You're killing yourself." "Emma," she said bluntly, "you can't keep this up." I opened up about my parents, their favoritism, and the way to proving them wrong. Her face hardened. "That's not a family. That's unfair. From now on, I'm your family." Sarah became my rock. She proofread my papers when my eyes blurred, made flashcards for my exams, and shooed our other roommates away when I needed quiet. When she caught me skipping meals to save cash, she cooked extra and refused payment. Family looks out for each other, she said simply, and sometimes the family you choose matters more. Midway through sophomore year, disaster struck. The donut shop cut hours due to a slow season, slashing my income by nearly half. My budget collapsed. With rent due and a tuition payment looming, panic set in. I remembered Mrs. Lee's advice and booked an emergency meeting with the financial aid office. Miss Winters, the assistant director, reviewed my case. "You're taking on a lot," she said, her voice kind but serious. "But your grades qualify you for an emergency grant. Even better. Miss Thompson had recommended me for a research assistant role in the business department. It paid better than the donut shop and fit my class schedule. The job was a game changer, working with Miss Thompson on a study about small business resilience. I found intellectual spark where I'd once just poured coffee. She took an interest in my future, asking one day, "Ever thought about entrepreneurship? Emma, your take on turning constraints into innovation is sharp." That question planted a seed, using skills from my digital marketing class. I started building an app to connect local businesses with student freelancers. Late nights. I coded a basic website and designed service packages based on my research with Miss Thompson. By junior year, the app was earning enough to let me quit the bookstore job. I kept the research position for the mentorship, not just the paycheck. Between the app, the research stipend, and loans, I clawed my way to shaky financial stability. In class, I started speaking up, sharing insights from my real-world experience. Professors noticed, and classmates asked for my advice. The girl who'd once hidden her pain was becoming a voice in the room. Lily and I barely talked. She'd text about sorority events or invite me to campus parties. But I always declined, too buried in work. Our parents called her weekly, but I got a holiday text at best. Once, Mom wrote, "Lily's acing her classes. Emma, don't embarrass us by falling behind." Lily forwarded me a photo of her at a debate tournament, smiling with Mom and Dad. I didn't reply, but one day I found a note slipped under my apartment door in Lily's handwriting. "I know you're working hard. Emma, I'm proud of you." I stared at it, unsure what to feel. She was still their golden child, wasn't she? I tucked the note away, keeping my walls up. My grades stayed perfect, and I earned a spot on the dean's list every semester. I won a departmental award and got invited to present at a regional business conference. Each milestone hardened my resolve. I wasn't just proving them wrong. I was building a future they couldn't touch. But the real test was yet to come. My app was about to take off, and a national competition would put me in the spotlight. Little did I know, those steps were leading to a graduation day that would change everything. Every late night, every missed meal, every moment I pushed through exhaustion, it was all building to this. My parents thought I'd fail, that I'd never match their precious Lily. They were wrong, and by senior year, I wasn't just surviving. I was rewriting the game, and at graduation, I dropped a bombshell that turned their world upside down. Have you ever had a moment where you proved everyone wrong? That's what this felt like, but bigger. Let's dive into the climax that changed everything. Junior year marked a turning point. My app, connecting local businesses with student freelancers, wasn't just a side project anymore. It exploded. Signing 25 regular clients, and employing 5 student workers. A local entrepreneurship magazine featured me, calling my app a game changer for small-town economies. The spotlight felt strange for someone used to hiding her pain, but it fueled me. I kept my research assistant job with Miss Thompson, soaking up her mentorship. She saw something in me I was only beginning to believe. Emma, she said one day, poring over data, your ability to turn scarcity into opportunity is rare. You're not just a student, you're a visionary. Her words echoed Grandma Margaret's, and I held them close, guarding them against the doubts Mom's comparisons still stirred. My confidence grew. In business strategy class, I spoke up, sharing insights from running my app. Professors took note, and classmates sought my advice. I made the dean's list every semester, snagged departmental awards, and presented at a regional business conference. Each win was a brick in the wall I was building, a future my parents couldn't dismiss. But they tried. Mom called, her voice sharp. Lily's leading her political science seminar. Don't let her outshine you. Emma, I didn't respond. Lily texted me about sorority galas, oblivious to my 60-hour weeks. Once, she wrote, your app sounds cool. I'm proud of you. I stared at the message, wary. Was she sincere, or just keeping up appearances for Mom and Dad? I didn't reply. My wall's still high. Senior year brought momentum I couldn't have dreamed of as a freshman. My app scaled to 30 clients, generating enough profit to repay a small loan early. Miss Thompson approached me in October with a challenge. The National Collegiate Business Innovation Competition is open, she said, sliding a brochure across her desk. The prize is $100,000 in industry exposure. Your app's focus on rural businesses could win it. I spent weeks refining my pitch, blending my research with real-world results. The competition was fierce, seasoned entrepreneurs, not just students, but I made it to the finals, set for April, a month before graduation. Meanwhile, Lily hit a wall. Her political science thesis was crumbling under tough requirements. She showed up at my apartment one night, eyes red, clutching a laptop. Emma, I'm failing my thesis seminar, she admitted, voice shaky. My professor says my research is a mess. I might not graduate. Part of me, the part scarred by years of comparisons, thought, good, let her struggle for once. But another part saw a chance to be better than our parents' favoritism. Sit down, I said, keeping my tone neutral. Let's look at it. I guided her through research methods I'd learned with Miss Thompson, keeping my emotions locked away. We worked late, and for the first time, we talked, really talked. How do you do it? Lily asked. Exhausted. Your app, your grades, your job. I'm drowning with just classes. I shrugged. I don't have a choice. It's 60-hour weeks or nothing. Her face fell. I didn't know it was that hard. She whispered, Mom and Dad just say you're fine. I met her eyes. Fine's relative when you're on your own. She looked guilty, but didn't push further. I wondered if she finally seen the gap between us. Lily's thesis got back on track, but our parents didn't know I'd helped. They kept calling her, planning her graduation party, while I got a curt text, Lily's graduating with honors. Emma, try to keep up. I ignored it, focusing on the competition. In April, I faced the judges, industry titans who grilled me on my app scalability. I poured everything into my presentation, how constraints breed innovation, how small businesses could thrive with student talent. When they announced my name as the winner, holding up a $100,000 check, I felt a rush of validation. A Silicon Valley tech firm offered me a job on the spot, $120,000 a year, more than Dad's salary. The university paper splashed my win across the front page. I mailed a copy to Grandma Margaret, who called, sobbing with pride. I always knew you were unstoppable. She said, Mom and Dad, not a word. Then came the game changer. In February, Dean Rodriguez called me to her office. Your journey at Crestwood is extraordinary, she said. From self-funding your education to building a business while acing your classes, you embody our entrepreneurial spirit. We want you to speak at graduation. My heart raced. A chance to stand before my parents, Lily, and thousands, claiming my victory. I said yes instantly. What I didn't know was that Dean Rodriguez had more planned. A surprise that would hit like a thunderbolt. As graduation neared, my parents arrived in California, renting a sprawling house for Lily's big day. They planned a lavish party, inviting half the family. I got a half-hearted text. We're celebrating Lily's graduation. Come if you're not too busy, Mom added. Lily's worked so hard. Don't overshadow her moment. Emma, I bit back a reply. Lily, meanwhile, was struggling again. She texted, Thanks for the thesis help. I owe you. I didn't respond, still unsure of her motives. The night before graduation, Grandma Margaret arrived, handing me a custom graduation stole embroidered with. Diamonds are made under pressure. Wear this with pride, she said, eyes shining. You've earned every stitch. At the rehearsal, Dean Rodriguez pulled me aside, smirking. Be ready for a big moment tomorrow, she said. Some surprises are worth the wait. I pressed for details, but she just winked. Graduation day dawned bright and clear. I woke early, nerves buzzing. This wasn't just about a degree. It was my vindication. I slipped into a new dress, pinned on Grandma's stole, and let myself feel the weight of 4 years of relentless effort. My phone pinged with a text from Lily Can't Believe We're Graduating. Proud to walk with you. It felt genuine, but I stayed guarded. Sarah drove me to campus, grinning. No buses for you today. Boss lady. The campus buzzed with families snapping photos. At the student assembly area, Lily spotted me and rushed over, adjusting my cap. We made it, she said, her smile soft. Well, I barely did. You conquered the world. Her humility caught me off guard, but I brushed it off. We did it our way, I said, keeping my distance. The ceremony began with the traditional march to pomp and circumstance. I glimpsed my parents in the front rows, Dad in his best suit, Mom in a flashy floral dress. Their eyes tracked Lily, beaming with pride. Grandma Margaret sat beside them, her gaze locked on me, radiating fierce love. The speeches droned on, but I barely heard them, rehearsing my address in my head. Then, the moment arrived. President Harlow stepped to the podium. Before we conclude, we have special recognitions. First, please welcome Emma Carter from the School of Business to deliver this year's student address. I walked to the stage, heart pounding. My parents' faces shifted from indifference to confusion. Clearly, they hadn't expected this. I took a deep breath and began. 4 years ago, I came to Crestwood with nothing but grit and a belief that education is earned, not given. I worked 30 hours a week, built a business, and graduated with honors. My parents told me I wasn't worth investing in, that I should quit. but I learned that others' limits don't define you. I spoke of resilience, of turning pain into power, never naming mom and dad, but letting the truth hang heavy. The greatest lesson Crestwood taught me, I said, is that your worth isn't tied to who believes in you. It's in what you build despite them. The crowd erupted in applause. President Harlow returned, his voice booming. Thank you, Ms. Carter, for those powerful words. Now, for some special recognitions. He paused, letting the tension build. The School of Business has unanimously named Emma Carter this year's valedictorian, graduating with a perfect 4.0 GPA while running a business valued at over 6 figures. Murmurs of awe rippled through the audience. I froze, not expecting this. Additionally, he continued, Emma won the National Collegiate Business Innovation Competition, bringing unmatched prestige to Crestwood's entrepreneurship program. The applause grew louder. I stole a glance at my parents. Their faces were pale, shock replacing their earlier indifference. Harlow wasn't done. What many don't know, he said, his voice carrying across the silent hall, is that Emma achieved this while fully funding her own education, working multiple jobs, and building her business with no family support. Gasps echoed. Parents in the crowd exchanged stunned looks. In recognition of her journey, Harlow went on. Emma has been offered a role with a leading Silicon Valley tech firm, with a starting salary of $120,000. The room roared, but the real twist was coming. Harlow smiled. Emma has used $50,000 of her competition winnings to establish the Margaret Carter Diamond Fund, a scholarship for students overcoming adversity. And today, that same tech firm is proud to announce a partnership with Crestwood to launch the Emma Carter Innovation Institute. With Emma as its founding director, she turned down their full-time offer to lead this initiative, creating opportunities for hundreds of future students. The auditorium exploded in a standing ovation. My parents' faces drained of color, horror dawning as the crowd grasped the truth they'd bet against the daughter now being hailed as Crestwood's brightest star. Lily stood among the graduates, clapping wildly, tears streaming down her face. For the first time, I saw regret in her eyes, regret for staying silent too long. Grandma Margaret stayed seated, her bad knees holding her back, but her smile could have lit the whole room. As I stepped off the stage, Lily grabbed my hand. You're incredible, she whispered, voice breaking. I'm so sorry I didn't see it sooner. Her words hit hard, the first crack in my walls. The ceremony blurred on. But one thing was clear, I hadn't just won. I'd redefined what winning meant. The applause still echoed in my ears as I stepped off that stage. I'd done it, not just graduated, but shown the world, and my parents, that their doubts couldn't define me. But the real test wasn't over. Facing my family after that speech, after those revelations, was like walking into a storm. Would they finally see me? Or would they cling to their old ways? Have you ever had to confront someone who hurt you, hoping for change, but bracing for more pain? That was my moment. Let's dive into how it all unfolded and how my family started to make things right. The graduation ceremony wrapped up with cheers and tossed caps. Graduates spilled into the courtyard for photos, but I lingered near the stage, catching my breath. Lily found me first, her eyes still wet from tears. Emma, she said, voice trembling. I was so wrong to stay quiet all these years. You're incredible, and I should have said it sooner. Her words hit me hard. cracking the walls I'd built to protect myself. I wanted to believe her, but years of being overshadowed made me cautious. "Thanks." "Lily," I said, my tone steady but guarded. "Let's just get through today." She nodded, looking like she wanted to say more, but Grandma Margaret hobbled over, her smile brighter than the California sun. "My diamond girl," she said, pulling me into a hug. "You didn't just shine, you blazed." Her pride anchored me, a reminder of who'd always had my back. My parents were waiting at the family reception, a catered affair in a campus banquet hall they'd booked for Lily's big day. I walked in, Sarah and Grandma at my side, steeling myself. Mom and Dad stood by a table piled with gifts, all for Lily. Their faces were stiff, like they'd been caught in a spotlight they couldn't escape. Relatives buzzed around, whispering about my speech and the announcements. Aunt Susan, never one for tact, cornered Dad. "Why didn't you tell us Emma was funding her own way, and that institute, she's a star?" Dad's smile faltered, but he mumbled, "We're proud of both our girls." The tension broke when Lily stepped forward, her voice cutting through the chatter. "No, Dad, stop pretending. You and Mom were wrong about Emma. She did everything on her own. Top grades, a business, that scholarship. While you told her she wasn't worth it, I was wrong too. For not speaking up, I'm ashamed I let it happen." The room went silent. Mom's eyes widened. Dad's jaw tightened. And I stood frozen, stunned by Lily's boldness. She turned to me, tears falling. "I'm so sorry. Emma, you deserve better from all of us." Her apology was raw, public, undeniable. For the first time, I felt seen, not just by her, but by everyone there. Mom tried to speak, her voice shaky. "Emma, we didn't mean to hurt you." I cut her off, my voice calm but firm. "You told me I wasn't worth investing in. You said I should skip college, that I'd never match Lily. Those weren't accidents. Those were choices. I built my future without you, not to prove you wrong, but to prove me right." Dad stepped forward, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. "We made a mistake," he said. "A big one. Big. We're sorry." "Emma." Their apologies hung in the air, but I wasn't ready to let them off the hook. Words don't erase years. I said, "I don't need your approval anymore. I know my worth." Grandma Margaret squeezed my hand, her voice low. "You turned their cruelty into a crown. Sweetheart, you don't owe them anything." Sarah, ever my protector, chimed in. "Emma's family is the people who saw her all along, like us." But Lily wasn't done. She crossed the room, standing by my side. "I want to be part of that family. Emma, the one that deserves you, it'll prove it. If you let me." Her earnestness pierced me. I nodded slightly, not trusting myself to speak. The crowd started mingling again, but the moment lingered, heavy with possibility. After the reception, Lily pulled me aside in the courtyard, away from the noise. "I've been a coward," she said, twisting her hands. "I saw how Mom compared you, how Dad dismissed you, and I stayed quiet because I didn't want to lose their love. That note I left at your apartment, I meant it. I've always been proud of you, but I was too weak to say it out loud." She paused, eyes pleading. "I want to make this right. I'm starting a job at a nonprofit next month. I'd like to help promote your scholarship fund, maybe share your story to inspire others. And I want us to be sisters, not rivals. Can we try?" Her vulnerability disarmed me. I'd spent years guarding my heart, but her effort felt real. "It'll take time," I said softly, but I'm willing to try too. She hugged me, and for the first time, I didn't pull away. The next month brought a surprise. Mom and Dad asked me to dinner, just the three of us. No Lily, no fanfare. I almost said no. But Grandma urged me to hear them out. Give them a chance to stumble toward better, she said. At a quiet restaurant near campus. They looked nervous, out of place without their usual bravado. Dad spoke first, his voice low. We were blind. Emma, we saw Lily's flash and missed your fire, telling you to skip college, saying you weren't worth it. Those were our biggest failures. We're ashamed. Mom's eyes glistened. We want to make amends, not with money, but by listening, by being the parents you deserved. We're here to start, if you'll let us. Their words stirred a mix of anger and hope. I thought of all the nights I'd cried alone, the years had carried their rejection, but I also saw their effort, raw, imperfect, but real. I don't need your validation, I said, my voice steady. I built my life without it, but I'm open to a new relationship, one where you see me as Emma, not Lily's shadow. They nodded, and Dad added, we're learning. Would like to support your scholarship fund. Maybe attend your events, if that's okay. I agreed, cautiously optimistic. A month later, they showed up at the first fundraiser for the Margaret Carter Diamond Fund. Dad took the mic, his voice cracking as he told the crowd, we failed our daughter Emma by not believing in her. Her success is hers alone, and we're here to honor it. Mom handed out flyers, her smile genuine for once. Their actions spoke louder than their earlier apologies. Lily kept her word too. She used her nonprofit social media to amplify the scholarship fund, posting about my journey and tagging me as an inspiration. Her posts reached thousands, drawing new donors. She started calling weekly, not just about work, but about life, her job, her dreams, even her fears. One weekend, she drove to my new apartment near the Emma Carter Innovation Institute, bringing coffee and a shy smile. I'm learning from you, she said, how to stand up, how to fight for what matters. Our conversations grew easier, like stitching together a bond we'd never had. I wasn't ready to call her my best friend, but she was becoming my sister in a way I'd never known. Grandma Margaret, Sarah, and Ms. Thompson threw a small celebration for me at the business school. Toasting my institute and my future, Lily joined us, raising a glass. To Emma, she said, the strongest person I know. Grandma winked at me, whispering, your real family's right here, but it's okay to let the others earn their way back. That night, I realized something profound. My parents' favoritism had hurt, but it had forged me. Their redemption, and Lily's, didn't erase the past, but it opened a door to a future where I could choose who shared my light. My parents' words, you're not worth investing in, skip college, once broke me, but they also built me. They pushed me to prove my worth, not for them, but for me. How do you turn pain into power? That's my story's heart. Their comparisons, Lily's better. You'll never match her, forced me to hide my hurt, to rely on myself. Those lonely nights, skipped meals, and endless shifts forged a diamond. I became unstoppable. Lily's apology and my parents' amends didn't erase the past, but they showed change is possible. Lily's calls, her help with my scholarship fund, made us sisters, not rivals. Mom and Dad's fundraiser support and honest regret opened a door. Though trust will take time, I'm not fully ready to forgive. but I'm open to a new start. My real family, Grandma Margaret, Sarah, Miss Thompson, saw me when no one else did. They carried me. Pain became my fuel, building a business, a scholarship, an institute. If you're feeling unseen, know this: your worth isn't in others' eyes. It's in what you create. Turn your hurt into strength, and let those who wronged you earn their way back. If you're out there feeling unseen, undervalued, or hurt by those who should lift you up, hear this: your light is still there, even if no one sees it yet. You don't need their approval to shine. Take your pain, your doubts, and turn them into power. Build something they can't ignore, not for them, but for you. And if someone tries to make amends, give them a chance, but only on your terms. You're worth that. What's your story? Have you ever turned pain into strength, or seen someone change after hurting you? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear how you've risen if this story touched you. Hit that subscribe button for more tales of triumph, and share it with someone who needs to know they're enough. Keep shining, because your light, it's unstoppable.